Yo, yo. What's up, y'all? I'm Eddie Johnson, and you're now listening to Yo, Yo, the podcast. Um, just a quick introduction. Like I said, I'm Eddie Johnson, and I'm an entrepreneur. For those of you that don't know me, I have a brand, Brador Watches. And I'm gonna, slowly get into some other things along with that. But I just felt like, I was going to start this podcast. I feel like I've been, kind of led to do this for a while now. I have been posting on my Instagram page, my personal Instagram page, just about, random topics that, would come to mind. And you guys would give me some decent feedback. And, I kind of flirted around with the idea of having a podcast. I would say that. And again, I got good feedback. People saying, yeah, start it. So yeah, here we go. I just think podcasting is just a nice way to further communicate with you guys, and kind of go a little bit more in depth. Instagram, you can do a lot of different things on it, but I don't know. I just think this is a nice, new platform to get into. I do have my website up, yoyothepodcast.com. You can find me on Facebook at Yo the Podcast, and also on YouTube channel. I'll be posting, these, episodes and everything on YouTube. And you can find me again, Yo the Podcast. So yeah, again, I just started this podcast just to have an avenue to, speak a little bit more. Like I said. So like I was saying, I do have a watch brand. And, initially I was like, why would God put me into watches and everything? And I just thought about, okay, maybe just to have people think more about, what they give their time to, what are they putting their time to? Are they, making the most out of their time, or, are they kind of just, people just go with emotion, life is, we have busy lives, work, bills, so those of us that have kids, I don't have kids, but, I just had to say it like that. But, people that have children, businesses, all those things. So it's easy to, kind of put your time to a lot of other things. Those are definitely important. Don't get me wrong. But, I feel like we all, have a purpose here on earth. We're not here by accident. I don't believe in coincidence. I think God strategically does things, and I think everything happens for a reason. So, what is it that we're using our time to, anything really, the things that you put your time to, I really believe that they say a lot about you. I know there's a saying, time spent can be time wasted. So I think that's really an interesting topic. Who are you spending time with? What are you doing with your time? For instance, my personal self, running this business early on, I just expected things to kind of happen on their own. I always, first and foremost, God is the reason why I'm doing, I'm in the business. So I just expected him to, just drop things in my lap and then, start, going from there. But it's like, yo, you can't, how is God going to know that you're ready for those things if you're not even doing anything, if you're not even really putting the work in on your own? Like, God is always going to do his part, but you have to meet him, halfway, So like I was saying earlier, I would be just doing all different types of things instead of focusing on the business, instead of doing things that, I could have been doing with the business. I love all my friends, but sometimes you have to have a balance on things. There's time for friends, there's time for family, there's time for work, there's time to do things for yourself. And I just didn't really have a good balance of that. So it took for a lot of lessons that I had to learn to understand that. Like, listen, you gotta if you want this to work, if you want it to go on, you got to put the time in. You got to put time into it, and when you're raising kids, if you don't, pay attention to your child, if you don't give your child that time that they need, then they're going to grow up looking for validation in a bunch of other things outside of what they should be looking into. That's when you kind of run into trouble. I mean, it doesn't have, it's a funny situation. A lot of time, talking about children and not giving them the proper time that they need. Sometimes they end up looking to the streets for certain things, especially like for the young men. I like to, again, talk a lot to us men. I will be having some women on here, to give that woman's point of view, because I feel like you always need that balance. You always need to hear how are us men thinking, and then for the women, you want to hear the women as well. Even as men, we want to hear from the women. What are you guys thinking? I guess it helps all of us as a collective to put things into their proper perspective, and it also allows for us to see things from another point of view. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I think this is good. This is kind of organic, if you will. But us men and women are very different from each other, and I think it's beautiful that way. Now we're in that time where everyone wants to do everything that everybody else does. Like, men want to do what women do, and women want to do what men do. Now, that's not saying that it can't be done, that it shouldn't be done, but we each have a certain type of uniqueness, being a man and being a woman. Us men, we do things that women don't do or can't do, or we do those things maybe better than the women can do. And then vice versa, women do things that men can't do or aren't good at. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a balance, but yeah, I just think that, again, when it comes to, time management, sorry, yeah, I kind of got a little sidetracked, but when it comes to time management, you really want to hone in on everything that you're doing. Again, like I just said, time spent can be time wasted, especially if it's on the wrong things. Again, when it comes to children, you want to give them that time, or else they're going to look, that time and attention, or else they're going to look elsewhere, for that. And, you can see it nowadays, especially like with the youth. It's unfortunate, but a lot of kids are misguided because maybe for whatever, a lot of different, circumstances and things happen in the home. And, I can't really, blame parents for, doing the best that they can, because that's what it means to be a parent, is to, do the best that you can in raising your child. That's how my parents that's what my parents taught me, and that's how they raised me. They just did their best, whatever that they, whatever things they went through, growing up and seeing as they grew up, they kind of wanted me to be shielded from that. So they did things the best way that they knew how. And personally, I think they did a good job. That's just me. But yeah, so I just think that, again, like I said, the time that you spend is crucial. Even aside from children, the people that you spend time with, I heard a saying today, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So like, if you, spending time with people that don't have the same vision as you, or are not, as motivated as you are, it can kind of hinder you from fulfilling your purpose, from fulfilling your God-given purpose. And you don't want to waste that, There's so many people that I grew up knowing that were so talented and had so much to offer, so much to give. And some of them, that time was wasted on doing things contrary to what they should have been doing, contrary to the gifts that, God gave them to make a real huge contribution, to society. And that may be, for a lot of different reasons. Maybe the streets caught up with them, or, I don't know, a relationship that they got a little bit too deeply involved in at a young age, or even now, that just kind of sidetrack them, and it really hinders you from fulfilling your purpose. And that's the worst thing to do, is to just waste potential, to waste that God-given ability on nonsense. Honestly, let's just be real. A lot of times, we kind of, shoot ourselves in the foot, and just wasting time, being lazy, not giving ourselves, not putting our time to that thing that we need to put time to, that we know we need to put time to, putting off things, waiting for the last minute, and I said before, like, it's not too late until it's too late. Time is so precious, you can't get time back, because it keeps moving, time waits for no man, as the saying goes. So it's so important to make the most of your time, especially now. I was searching up scripture earlier, just for this particular topic, and I came across Ephesians 5:15 and 17. It says, "Therefore, excuse me, therefore be careful how you walk, not as unwise men, but as wise, making the most of your time, because the days are evil. So then do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is." I feel like that's, pretty straightforward. When you make the most of your time, that's very wise. When you procrastinate, when you get sidetracked, we all get sidetracked, but it's so important to make sure we know, what we're focusing on, what the focus is, what is the goal that we have in our lives, what is a dream that, the Lord may have put on our hearts to do, and we need to act on that. We need to give that time, because again, it's a foolish thing to waste time, because like I said, you can't get it back. It's sad to see or hear older people, speak about how they wish they could have done that, they wish they could have done this, and that's hindsight speaking, and hindsight is 2020. As you get older, as you look back on certain things, you see like what could have been different, what you could have. How you could have approached something differently. And it's also a wise thing. This is a little side note. It's a wise thing to learn from, those adults, especially when they're talking about time, so it's important for that. And it also says, so then do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. So when you know what the Lord has said to you, and what He's given to you, and what His will is, that's wise. That's being understanding. That's not being foolish. That's being the exact opposite of foolish. So it's just important to make the most of your time. If there's if there's a business that you want to start, start it. If there's, I don't know, if you need to, rekindle a relationship with someone and you just don't know how, or just do it, because time is precious. It's a terrible thing to have to look back and be like, man, I should have made amends with this person before, but now I don't have the opportunity for whatever reason, just a little personal story from me. And I don't think it's as bad as I may think of it myself, but I remember when I was 17, my grandfather passed away. This was my senior year in high school. And it just hurt me so much, because I didn't get a chance to tell him that I loved him. I was speaking to him on the phone, but he couldn't really hear me at that time. And it just hurt me so much to, think like, man, I didn't even get to tell Granddad I loved him. So it really affected me. I'll get into that later on, some other topic that we'll speak on. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that little point. Again, as you can see, my podcast, everything that I say, I want to incorporate the word of God in it. I feel like that's the standard. That is the standard. There's no, I feel that is the standard of life. That is the standard of living, because, He made all of us. So He made everything. And I feel like, incorporating His word in our daily lives would make things so much easier for all of us. And I really believe that you guys should do that too. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in for my first little intro, and I'll see you back here soon. Yo, yo, the podcast.